Welcome in, Sneeples. Today is Monday, which means it's Market Monday. Over this last week, we've had crazy things go down. I feel like every week we're just getting goodies. We have ROSETTA, which was the world premiere down in Tampa, Florida. So we got to see basically the entire set, all the hidden goodies throughout it. We also were then able to see some of the new promos that will be going to be at Worlds in Osaka. And the best part of the news all week, I don't know if you know this, but you might already, if you're a true Sneeple, our boy Eric, you know the man. He made it to top 4 of the calling for Tampa. Congratulations, crazy run on Eric. It is pretty sweet. There's definitely gonna be a good story time video or something coming along down the pipelines from that limited mastermind. And there might be some limited content going over ROSETTA, so you can win your pre-release and whatever events you'll be doing. So stay tuned for that. But other than all that, let's just get straight into this. Generic Arcanite Skullcap. We talked about this card last week. We saw something was moving, and boy, it sure moved, and it's still moving. This card went from $27.26 up to $60. That's a 120% increase. We're talking about the rainbow foil here. The non-foil isn't far behind it though, because that one is also moving. We saw the new chest piece in ROSETTA, which works very well with Arcanite Skullcap. It's the Arcanite Equipment Suite. Both of these Arcanite equipments work well together, and you get bonuses if you have them. So it's gonna make this headpiece even better, especially if we're moving into an arcane heavy meta. If we're talking about headpieces, we need to talk about Crown of Providence. This card went from $65 up to $118. That's an 82% increase. We saw the new ban and restrictions, which basically said, if you like to draw cards, you don't get to draw cards. So a lot of the tomes went away, Art of War, and so on. And so with that being said, all the great decks in the format that draw cards as part of their game plan to help enact and do better things, it makes Balance of Justice less good as a headpiece run because not as many decks are going to be drawing as many cards now. So you might want a piece of equipment that's going to do a little bit more. Crown of Providence is one of them, and so we're seeing a nice spike in this card because it was drifting pretty low there for a hot minute because it wasn't used as much. So now it might be making its way back into your fridge. I think I might just poison the well. This card went from $632 up to $899. That's a 42% increase. And the thing I always think about this card is it makes me think of like a fairy tale, like a movie, like a story. I don't know. So that was my impression of like an evil witch putting poison apples in the well. This is a pretty sweet card. You know it's blue, which is great. But then we're moving into a format where potentially there's going to be some heroes that focus their decks around life gain, and it might counteract it a little. And if those apples did have poison in it at the bottom of that well, we'll get you a little funeral move. From $349 up to $711, that's a 103% increase. It's a pretty sweet card. Yeah. Shadow Realm Horror. Raid Shadow Legends? This card went from $398 up to $526, that's a 32% increase. This, if you can get it turned on, is crazy. Eloquent Eulogy. This card went from $4 up to $5, that's a 25% difference. It's powerful, it's sweet. I just opened one the other day, I thought it was pretty cool. Supercell Mechanologist. This card went from $2 up to $323, that's a 61% increase. It's still pretty cheap for being an expansion slot card because we know how expensive those can get if they ever become mainstream. Currently, this isn't seeing that much mainstream play, but we are getting some new Dio cards which might bleed into like Max and so on, so this might see a little bit more love down the line. But this is a good card. It's one I'd keep your eye on just because it's an expansion slot card, and I feel like some of those Mechanology moves this close to really busting out and getting their breakout meta. We're gonna find out. Ranger Amplifying Arrow. Or Amp Arrow, because it's season of ROSETTA and everyone likes to amp. This card went from $265 up to $375, that's a 41% increase. The ability on this arrow is super sweet. The day that this becomes like the main game plan to get the craziest amplifying arrow out there, that's gonna be a really fun day. So I'm looking forward to when that happens. That's been the news of the week. Those are the cards that have been moving. There's always other things trickling here and there. You know how that goes. But the crazy thing that's about to come down is all of us are about to get our hands on some ROSETTA cards because pre-release is this upcoming weekend, and we know how pre-release prices can get. Quite absurd, quite expensive. You might even be seeing some of that from the world premiere prices. It's just part of the course. My one word of wisdom to anyone out there listening at this point of the video: be cautious if you go and buy cards this pre-release season. Make sure it's a good price. Try not to overpay too much. You know how it goes. I preach it every single season, but it's the way it runs. I also want to give a major shout out to all of our patrons who help make things like this possible. You guys truly are the coolest, and me and Eric just are truly grateful for everything you guys do. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.